When patients are struggling with a chronic condition, they come to me wanting relief immediately. I understand. I struggled with my own health issues for years before finding acupuncture and Chinese medicine. Many of you have probably been to countless doctors, had a number of tests, but still can't find relief. Unfortunately, healing your body correctly takes time. What many people forget is that underlying their condition is one of the most important foundations of all, which you have the power to change right now: your diet and lifestyle. When patients come in with poor immune system and fatigue, I share the 5R framework for gut restoration. This is a functional medicine program that focuses on removing, replacing, reinoculating, repairing, and rebalancing your gut health. I will explain each of these more in depth, but when applied to a various chronic health issue, the 5R program can lead to dramatic improvements in your symptoms. Here are the concepts behind the 5R program. Remove. Remove stressors from your environment is extremely important to healing. You want to ruthlessly get rid of anything that negatively impacts your environment, digestive system, things like food, parasites, environmental stressors. This step should include an allergy elimination diet to find out what foods are causing your digestive issues. In this lesson, I will go in depth on the AIP, autoimmune protocol, whether you have an autoimmune condition or not. This is the best elimination diet and reintroduction protocol for people struggling with any fatigue in addition to autoimmune. Keep watching and we will dive into it shortly. Replace. We want to replace digestive secretions by adding things like enzymes, hydrochloric acid, and bile salts in your diet. They are a must for proper digestion. Many times they are compromised by medications you are taking. The aging process, the lack of chewing food. We should chew the food until it's a liquid in our mouth and not be able to decide, what was that food I was just eating? Disease, even your current diet can affect and compromise. So we need to replace digestive secretions. Reinoculate. To help good bacteria flourish in your GI tract, you want to make sure you're taking high quality probiotics and prebiotics. So both are important in healing an unhealthy gut. Prebiotics feed the probiotic. Together they can help you get the best result. There are links to both prebiotics and probiotics in the notes section. Repair. To help the lining of your gastrointestinal tract repair itself, it's important to make sure you are consuming a few key nutrients that are sometimes in short supply if you have poor gut health. It's important to include nutrients such as zinc, antioxidants, fish oil, and amino acids. I have links to these supplements in the notes section as well. Rebalance. Finally, let's not forget about your lifestyle choices. Sleeping, exercise, stress all have been impacts on your digestive system. It's important to get enough rest, 8 hours a night, exercising 5 times a week, reducing stress as much as possible for an optimal digestive tract. Now that you understand the concepts behind the 5R, let's talk about how to make these changes happen. The first step in the 5R is to remove. It's sometimes the hardest. So I want to dive into Autoimmune Protocol, AIP, an effective diet and lifestyle program that helps patients overcome the core underlying factors that are preventing the recovery. This is not a long-term diet. This is just short-term to see where you're at. Inflammation, leaky gut, hormone imbalances, blood sugar imbalances, and nutrient deficiencies can drastically alter your ability to get well. The AIP diet follows a strict elimination and reintroduction process, so you can determine what is causing the root of your symptoms. The goal is to identify a diet that will support your health while avoiding things that can undermine it. With any condition, whether it's autoimmune or not, there are a few key factors that could be triggering your symptoms. We will focus on gut health. we will determine what foods are irritating your gastrointestinal tract and what foods are supporting your gut health. Nutrients. Just like every system in your body, your immune system needs a variety of nutrients to function at its best. Throughout the diet, we will focus on nutrient-dense foods in order to give your body the tools it needs to heal. Blood sugar levels. High and low blood sugar levels can lead to inflammation, immune flare-ups, hormonal issues, and more. Balanced blood sugars are vital to healing. This diet provides healthy foods to ensure your blood sugar levels are always balanced. Regulating your immune system. You can't heal unless we regulate your immune system. By removing triggers from your diet, improving your gut health, blood sugar levels, and nutrients, this diet will support healthy immune function, which is key to good health. A good immune system. First, let's talk about all of the healthy foods you can enjoy while you're participating in the short-term AIP protocol. Fruits and vegetables are a big part of this diet. You want to eat 6 to 9 servings a day. It's important to make sure you aren't eating the same fruit and vegetable over and over. The more variety, the better. Of course, you want to eat as many organic vegetables and fruits as possible to avoid chemical triggers like pesticides. Some of the vegetables are asparagus, beets, broccoli, squash, sweet potatoes, and zucchini. You can eat cherries, grapefruit, peaches, pears, plums, and other fruits. You just want to keep your sugar intake between 10 to 20 grams per day. There's a PDF in the attached up to this lesson that includes a complete list of all the fruits and vegetables to eat. You can also have a variety of high-quality meats. You can eat chicken, turkey, and lamb, as long as they are hormone and antibiotic free. Chicken is allowed, but only in moderation, because it has a very high omega-6 content, and that can lead to inflammation. You can enjoy grass-fed, hormone-free, antibiotic-free beef, as well as pork, bison, and other wild game. The key here is to eat locally raised, grass-fed, pastured meat, if possible. You want to avoid factory-farmed meats that contain antibiotics and hormones, and organ meats and bone broth are also allowed. Again, a full list of meats to eat will be included in the PDF. Shellfish and fish are also allowed. You want to seek out of the ocean caught low mercury fish, that is high in fat. Fermented foods like sauerkraut, kimchi, kombucha are great for promoting a healthy gut. Most fermented foods are allowed on the AIP diet. When purchasing store-bought products, just make sure they are free of sugars and other additives. Herbs and spices are important to dressing up any home-cooked meal. You can have a number of both basil, cilantro, garlic, oregano, and so forth. A complete list will be in the PDF section of the resource section. Vinegars are also fine to enjoy and great on salads and veggies. You can enjoy apple cider vinegar, balsamic, champagne vinegar, red wine vinegar, sherry, and more. Just avoid grain-based vinegars like rice and distilled white vinegar. Tea is a great beverage you can enjoy if you are looking for something other than water. Green, white, black, yerba mate, and herbal teas are all okay. Again, this is short term, and we have a PDF that's going to put this all together for you. We're just going over a few items here, so you can get the 10,000-foot view. These are just a few things that you can eat on the AIP diet. A complete list will be attached to this lesson. While you're on the diet, it's important to eat frequently and never let yourself get hungry. Many times cravings are disguised for thirst and low blood sugar, so make sure you're staying hydrated with filtered water. For this diet to work as a therapeutic diet, it is extremely important to watch your symptoms and how your body's reacting to these changes. I encourage you to keep a log or journal with any notes about the foods you're eating and eliminating and how it makes you feel. While there are a number of foods you can enjoy on the AIP diet, there are a number of foods to avoid as well. It's important to be strict when avoiding these. Again, it's only for a small time frame. A small snack or even a bite of these can trigger an immune reaction or flare-up immediately or within 3 weeks. You have to remember the goal here is to diminish inflammation and immune response, and then reintroduce these foods to determine your sensitivities and what works best for your body. I promise as you start, you will feel better, and your food cravings will pass. The first 4 days, sometimes up to 10, are the most difficult. You can get through that. Here are some foods you want to be sure to avoid. Just as we created a PDF with the foods you can eat, I also created one with the ones to avoid. This will include a complete list of foods, so make sure to download that as well. You'll want to avoid all grains: wheat, oat, couscous, millet, corn, barley, and so forth. You'll also want to avoid all pseudo-grains: chia, quinoa, buckwheat. Bean and legumes are also avoided, as well as nuts. Peanuts are actually a legume, so make sure you try to avoid anything made with peanuts, like peanut butter or nut butters. You need to steer clear of seeds and seed-based spices. Seed-based spices include coriander, cumin, mustard, allspice, whole vanilla bean. You need to avoid dairy products, butter, cheese, frozen desserts, goat and sheep milk. And you'll want to avoid eggs. Remember, this is not forever. While vegetables are great, you want to avoid what they call the nightshade vegetables. Nightshade vegetables are eggplant, sweet and hot peppers, hot pepper sauces, tomatoes, and potatoes. Sweet potatoes and yams are okay since they aren't in the same family. However, don't eat too many because it's high in sugar. Nightshade spices like cayenne and chili powder are also on the avoid list. Other foods to avoid include refined processed oils, sugars, food additives, canned foods, and alcoholic beverages. Gluten is a no-go. When you are reading labels, be on the lookout for gluten-containing compounds. They're going to be in barbecue sauce, cold cuts, condiments, ketchup, soy sauce, non-dairy coffee creamers, and salad dressings, in addition to the crackers and the breads. Many times they have hidden ingredients or compounds that contain gluten and will cause an immune reaction. Your first question is probably, how long do I need to eliminate all of these foods? Unfortunately, I don't have a cut and dry answer for you. Timing for reintroducing these foods all depends on how you are feeling. You want to hold off reintroducing any foods until you can see a significant difference in your symptoms and quality of life. For some people, that's a month. Some it's a couple of months or longer. But we always encourage 30 days. It's important to keep the big picture in mind. While following this diet may seem challenging and against every routine that you know and have done for the last 5, 10, 15 years, you are worth it. And it is worth it to recover from the current health that you have to live the life that you want. Small sacrifice for a large gain. It may take time for your body to reverse inflammation cycles, and it's important not to rush the reintroduction process. If you begin introducing foods too soon, while you still have symptoms, you won't be able to tell if the food is the root or just a symptom. So, the key here is listening to your body and what it's trying to tell you. Sometimes a person may introduce a food successfully, but symptoms start to reappear. This means you may need to avoid this one particular food or ingredient a little bit longer. Of course, your lifestyle impacts all of this as well. Stress level, sleep pattern, even exercise can impact the reactions to food. Throughout the eliminations and reintroduction period, you need to make sure you're getting 8 to 10 hours of sleep a night, even more if you can. You need to keep your stress levels to a minimum. What stressors can you do to reduce or eliminate from your life? looking into stress relieving activities like yoga and meditating and reading. Make sure you're getting moderate exercise daily if possible, and making sure you're maintaining your social relationships, especially the ones that you have that support you and that love you unconditionally. Studies show that people who maintain social connections, whether it be family or friends, are happier, healthier, and live longer. Now, when you're ready to reintroduce foods, there are a couple of tips to make the process as effective as possible. Some foods are more likely than others to cause an immune response and create fatigue, so we want to introduce those foods last. It's recommended to follow this order, and again, there will be a PDF on this, but I wanted to go over it first. Eggs. Start with the yolk first for several days. Then introduce the yolk and the egg whites. So you're going to have to throw out some egg whites for a couple of days. Reintroduce seeds before nuts, and do so slowly, literally one seed at a time per day. One seed on Monday, 2 seeds of the same seed on Tuesday, Wednesday, go up to 3. By the time you get to Thursday, you'll have 4 sesame seeds. Okay? Go slow. Try introducing dairy. I recommend starting with grass-fed ghee first. It is a clarified butter. And then butter itself. Raw dairy is best because it's easiest to digest, but it's not always available. Goat dairy is easier than cow dairy to digest as well. And finally, reintroduce nightshades. They are one of the most common and tolerated foods for people with fatigue and autoimmune issues. If you do have an immune flare-up or excessive fatigue, your response to nightshades may take a bit longer. So it might be longer than a month that you avoid them. Be sure to introduce one at a time. And the quantity is 1 tablespoon. Depending on your individual health, you may want to consider never reintroducing things such as a tomato or a gluten. Maybe things like aspirin or ibuprofen also trigger your immune response. We will talk more about gluten, how it can impact your health in this lesson as well. So once you have determined what foods you are reintroducing first, follow this process to make sure you are tracking and monitoring how your body responds. I absolutely recommend getting a journal or a notebook for this. Eat the food you have selected 2 or 3 times in one day. The first time you eat it, only eat a half a teaspoon or less. Wait 15 minutes and see how you're feeling. If you have immediate symptoms, don't eat the food again. If you have no immediate symptoms, try eating 1 teaspoon of the food at lunch. Wait 15 more minutes and monitor your symptoms. If you still have no immediate symptoms, eat a bigger bite at dinner. Then wait 2 to 3 hours and monitor your symptoms. If you still have nothing, then eat a normal-sized portion of the food by itself or with the meal the next day. It's important not to eat the food for another 3 to 7 days. And do not introduce any other new foods during that time. So each week, it's 1 new food. Diligently monitor your symptoms. If you have no symptoms for 7 days, that food is safe for you to eat. To make sure, eat a small amount of it every day for another week and continue to monitor your body and reactions. Again, if you have no reactions, start adding this food back into your diet as you wish, as often as you wish, and move on to the next food to reintroduce. It seems so overwhelming at first. I get it. Planning ahead is the key to the success. Deciding what you're going to take out and how you're going to reintroduce, which one you're going to reintroduce, and when, has to be planned out ahead. Because life gets in the way. You need to have the right food available when you're hungry. Batch cooking and meal prep is extremely helpful for this. It probably takes about 2 hours to meal prep for the entire week. I also highly recommend connecting with others who are doing the AIP diet or variations of the diet like paleo, primal, or others. There are countless resources available from online blogs, Facebook groups, and Pinterest recipes. You will probably be surprised to see how much support is out there with a simple Google search. We are here to help support you as well as much as possible along the way. There is no doubt that this diet is powerful and has the ability to repair and recover your immune system and change your health. I have witnessed it many times. While this diet has helped many people understand what foods trigger their immune response in a negative way, I would be doing a disservice if I didn't talk briefly about what's called oral tolerance. It is possible to follow this diet and not see a substantial improvement in your symptoms, or possibly develop sensitivities to new foods. This is caused by what's called loss of tolerance, which means your immune system has lost the ability to respond to foods appropriately. This doesn't mean the AIP diet is ineffective for you. It is still important to identify your inflammation triggers, but in this situation, the AIP diet should be just one of many functional medicine tools you use to turn your health around. There are many immune factors that could be at play here if this cases and there is oral intolerance, hormonal imbalances, chronic stress that cannot be managed, blood sugar imbalances, thyroid hormones, to name a few. Many times, a key factor to loss of oral tolerance is related to your overactive and reactive dendritic cells. This is just a fancy word for your immune cells that attack everything they encounter, friend or foe. This happens when your body is not digesting what's called a protein correctly due to the lack of stomach acids and enzymes. So we just have to go back to the basics, make sure we establish good stomach acid, enzymes, and bile salts, which we talk about in this program. If you have low oral tolerance, there are a number of supplements you can take. They will be in the handout section. Hydrochloric acid, HCl. This helps the stomach acid digest protein. People who have low HCl experience problems after eating meat. They fall asleep after they eat it. Take a supplement of HCl when you eat meat, and this will help break down proteins better for you. You will not have to take it the rest of your life. Digestive enzymes. They help you break apart proteins. So, taking a digestive enzyme with your meals can help your body break down and better digest your food. DPP enzymes. It's common for people with loss of oral tolerance to be sensitive to gluten and dairy. This enzyme will help break down gluten and dairy if your food was accidentally contaminated. This is very important if you travel. Flavonoids. Flavonoids, which are found in fruit and veggies, have been shown to block the immune response from those dendritic cells, the ones that attack everything, which they can be helpful in aiding in digestion. So the more flavonoids in your diet and the types of fruits and veggies, the better, which are part of the AIP diet. Vitamin A helps boost another funny word called secretory IgA. This is important, SIGA, because it keeps those dendritic cells from being overreactive. It's recommended to take 5,000 IU of retinol vitamin A a day. If you're experiencing loss of oral tolerance, lab testing is also a good option to help you determine which food sensitivities are actually impacting your health. Cyrix Labs, which is linked in the notes sections, offers immune reactivity testing. They test food in the state it's normally consumed, which is important because proteins change depending on how they are cooked. So they test a raw egg or a cooked egg. They test raw sushi, cooked salmon. If you test positive for a high number of foods, you're probably experiencing loss of oral tolerance. That does not mean you have to give up all the foods you tested positive for, just the ones with a clear reaction. Then you can begin a protocol to restore your tolerance and test again. If you believe you're experiencing any loss of oral tolerance, I also recommend seeing a functional medicine provider who can guide you through this process of restoring that oral tolerance, getting your immune system back in health. It is not always easy to find the root cause of your health issue. I know from personal experience that it can be a difficult journey that takes longer than you want. But finding the root cause of your illness and not simply covering up your symptoms with medications and prescriptions will benefit you the rest of your life. Investigating your diet is the first step in your journey to recovering your health and getting your life back.